I'm here. What's going on, everyone? Are we gonna get it in the first time? The first time out today? We did. That's because the computer has not been rebooted since we did the stream on Thursday. How is everyone? I see a lot of my friends in chat. Johnny Gardner, 3D Print Viking, Tom Llama, Lars Henson, ID Mapper06, Hardman, Carl Brown, 3PC3D, welcome, Jason Peters, all kinds of people. That's great to see. Stan Lee, awesome name. Angel's here. Travis Stamper. I'm doing well. Love the whole music. Rafi is here. Rafi is one of the wonderful people that has fought the MMU2 install on an SKR board, so good on him. And passed his information. Mike Never Let the Machines Win is here, of course. The basement elevator music is a real toe tapper. Right on. Brian Smith, thank you very much for the 5. That is much appreciated. Sergio, HVAC A to Z. That's always hard for me to say. Okay, so today it's going to be somewhat interesting. Now, to start off, I have always kind of had the idea of, I've seen this a couple of times. It's not a new concept. If you look around on the YouTubes, you will find a couple of maybe homemade projects that do this, but I've always kind of liked the idea of having a foldable 3D printer. Meaning, you could put it in some kind of flat pack case, you could take it to your buddy's house, and you could fold it up and be printing within a couple of minutes. Well, that's what this one's going to try to do. Now, this is another Kickstarter printer. Let's just put that out there. And the Kickstarter actually hasn't started yet. I believe it starts on Tuesday. I need to check my notes for that, because, you know, I'm always so prepared for these things to happen. I believe it starts on Tuesday, and it is very affordable. But this is from EZT3D. They call it the S2 Foldable. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to work. They reached out. I've been back and forth with them a little bit. So I'm kind of interested in this one, I have to say. So it should be good. You know the drill for the rest of the day. I'm totally gonna butcher that, but Maradul, thanks for the sub. So that's what we're gonna do. You know the drill. We are going to get it out of the box. We're gonna do some assessment. You know what that means. And then we were gonna test it out. So if it's foldable and it starts printing right away, you don't have to mess with it much. This could be a short stream, but you never know. Stay tuned. I'm here all week. Ba-dum-bum. I have that somewhere. But anyway. Okay, let's get to it. More and more Swedish. I don't know what that means, but the Swedish are a good people, so I'm gonna go with it. For a 3D printer today. This was opened and examined by the good people at U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Not a sponsor. But I do want to notice the great packing on this guy. So this tells you everything you need to know. So this is actually the front. So let's do a quick advertisement here. Here it is. It kind of feels like when you buy a TV at Best Buy. It's got the same glossy pack feel, which not a lot of 3D printers do. I mean, if you've had Ender 3s or whatever, not everyone does this. I believe the Kickstarter early entrance price for these is $200. They are $235, $235, $250. So if it's packed correctly, they tell you 3 steps. It's flat packed, you stand it up, you put 4 screws in it, and you're done. So if it's packed correctly and you can reuse this box, this might be something handy to have. I don't know. What's the shipping weight on this guy? I can never find the weight. Yeah, total net weight is listed as 1/1000th of a kilogram. 9 kg is the shipping weight on this. I don't think it's quite that heavy. Maybe close. But this could be, if it works out, this could be something handy to have, you know, on the side that you could take with you. So let's see how it goes. This one has been crinkled just a bit. Blue Moster, thank you for the sub. Printer is 7.7 kg. Okay, so there you go. I didn't think it was quite that heavy. I need something to slide underneath these flaps. About 9 kg of filament. What are we going to hopefully print today? You know what we're going to print today. Silly people in chat. I don't know the best way to show this to you. I think the ceiling cam should work. Again, I haven't changed anything from last stream that we did. So hopefully it's going to work. You're not going to be able to see it slide out of here so well. But it does kind of slide out on its side. It looks to be wrapped. Hey, look. Upside down, Benchy? Okay. Check this out, Tom Llama. It's 200 grams of filament, so I won't be able to toss it over my shoulder. If you follow me or Tom Llama on Twitter, you'll know that Tom had really enjoyed the last stream when I tossed the filament. And that thing has had like 1,000 views, Tom. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I thought it was hilarious as well. I really didn't even remember doing it, honestly. So you get some goodies in here. Let's get the printer out and then we'll take a look at that real quick, because that looks like they even give you some extra drivers and such. And a nice paper manual. We'll take a look at that in a second. So again, if you can reuse this box, more power to you. Oh, I forgot to turn my cool shelf lights on for today. Not that it's really all that noticeable, but it makes me feel better. So yeah, it really does just come in one big chunk of printer there. At 200 bucks though, I mean, if it's somewhat modular and you can carry it around, why not have one? Okay, so let's just cut the plastic off of this guy and see what its folded state is going to look like. It does have a glass bed, so be careful when carrying your printer around. They're sending me extra because then you'll break something. It could be. They could have seen the channel before, maybe. You think that's possible? Yeah, dual lead screws. That's always a good sign, especially at this price point. It looks like they're using a couple of screws in there to give you something to level to. Maybe you can set them that way. There are quite a few printed parts, which I kind of like to see 3D printed parts on stuff. I mean, if it makes sense, right? We don't want to get carried away. So let's just have a look at the manual and see what it says real quick. Proper printing. I don't know that one. Do we know who's proper printing? Accessories. Power cable, flat cable, screw pack. Consumables. Yeah, this is all just pretty much how to use the screen. Assembly and use. Now see what I'm talking about as far as assembly goes? There are like 2 steps to it. That's the kind of machine that I'm into. They do have a spool holder that goes on top that would add some extra steps, but we're not going to deal with that. And then we go straight into German. Let's see, what's it say about leveling? Cool. All right, I'm down. Okay, yeah, again, extra goodies in this box. We do get a set of clippers. Looks like they are using something volcano-ish for their nozzle. That does look to be a very long heat block. You can see the longer nozzle there. So that's interesting. They give you a couple of T-nuts for your spool holder. You do get a little pack of tools. An extra ribbon cable. If you are familiar with artillery printers, there's a couple printers that do this. If they have a ribbon cable, sometimes they're not the most reliable, and if you get kind of crazy with it, sometimes, like if you need to reseat it or something, sometimes that can be a problem. So they give you an extra one, so that's cool. Good to see, just in case there's an issue. You get a USB drive with an SD card, a couple of more screws. You get some acupuncture needles, a power cord, spool holder. This is the one I'm really curious about. There are 2 drivers in this pack. And they're way too small for me to see. It's either an 08 or an 09. Where's my phone? Actually, I wonder if the table camera can zoom in on that. I don't know if it can get that tight or not. No, it can't. My phone can. I can't, I can't see any of these things without zooming in on my phone anymore. The chips are too small. I am too fast. I would catch it. That is an 8, a 2208. So I get 2 extra 2208s for some reason. Hopefully it's not a bad reason. They just like me and wanted to give me a couple more. So there we go. So that's what we get. So let's see about unfolding a foldable printer. Shall we? What's going on in chat? Anything good? So people keep saying he's ripping off proper printing. That I don't know. I can't vouch for that. It starts to go. I'm getting close to hitting 40. I will be 40 in next summer, so everything's gonna start going to. That's a pretty cool hinge there. I like it. We got one. The one on the back there might be kind of tricky because there's a wire loom. No notification again. Well, that's what YouTube does best, right? It does not have ABL. What happened to the one that I actually need? It's not in here any longer. I mean, I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Maybe if I put things away, I'd be able to find them. Nah. Things shouldn't be that easy. Hello, Brian Vines. How are you? At 40, I'll have a midlife crisis and get more printers. Boy, I hope not. Maybe I'll have a midlife crisis and get less printers. It is direct drive, yes. That's it. Unless you want to put the spool holder on, which I'm not going to do. But it's a couple of T-nuts. So, what do we got here? Ribbon cable. It does have a 3D printed housing here. This is just a warning. There's nothing covering it up. The filament actually goes in the side right here. So what kind of extruder are we dealing with under there? It definitely has a volcano-ish. Ooh, the carriage is loose too. The bed's good. Belt's nice and tight. Z might need a little bit, but not much. Is there a belt on Z? No, it is 2 dual lead screws. Did I say two dual lead screws? Pick one. Use that one. So good there. It is a direct drive extruder. It has that same kind of flat fan that we're seeing a lot, but the duct is quite wide. And it kind of directs it that-a-wise. Here, let's just have a look at it while we do things, shall we? So you can kind of see definitely just a blocky direct drive setup there. Got kind of a volcano deal, and the fan duct goes that way. Feel like we're moving too fast here. Let's well, actually, let's wide out a bit. Let's peel our plastic. Yes. I'm going to remove my Made in China stamp. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think it's messing up the front of my flow here. And the plastic off of our glass Ultra Base-esque. I'm not saying it is Ultra Base, but it definitely has the same type of look and feel to it. And if you have one of these, if you get a printer that has this on it, clean it like 6 times before you try to use it. I've run into that twice now. You want to plug it in? It beeped. Oh, they got their logo and some buttons. Cool. And really, we have to be able to print and then fold it and put it back to make it a foldable printer, right? I'm going to remove the heat warning as well. Now, this one isn't as bad as the other ones I've seen. There's some very... It's either like an oil residue or something that comes off of those plastic sheets. It's very yellow, and prints don't like to stick to it very well. Even if you think you've gotten it all off, you probably have not. Every printer is a foldable printer once. Yeah? Depends how big of a folding machine you have, I guess. I actually almost just said you could hit it with a Chrysler. Is Chrysler even still a thing? I'm not sure why I said Chrysler. But anyway. Way to go, brain. I guess Chrysler sounded the funniest in my head. Welcome to Chris's basement. This is where we clean glass sheets roughly 3 dozen times for your amusement. Alright, I think that's clean enough. That one was actually a lot better than the one that I have experience with. Now what? I guess we preheat. I don't think you're ever going to be able to see what's on that screen because of glare and such. It's the only problem with making videos and things. You need lots of light, and then the lots of light make you unable to see different stuff. The screen is a little darker than some of the touchscreen displays that I've seen. The icon, not meaning dark, but the icon theme. Wow, focus. This thing's been kind of crazy on focusing lately. There you go. You can kind of see it. So let's do tool and preheat. And the touchscreen works. And I guess we're just going to add some temp. It's very responsive. And let's switch over to bed and set it to 60. And let's watch it heat up. Do we have a status screen? Yeah, that's one thing about some of these layouts. Not so much anymore, actually, because they've kind of corrected that. But some of the original layouts on these TFTs, there was no good status screen. The newer one, like the unified one, does have a good status screen, and I appreciate that. Let's, home. Home all. It's going. Proper printing is here. Kevin Schofield here. What's up? Screens are so 2019. It feels like that though, doesn't it? I can smell things heating up. Ooh, it has a Wi-Fi button. It is heating. We're good. Where's my paper? Jerry's here, 3D printing and painting. What's up? This is probably the fastest setup I've ever had with a 3D printer. Have we ever actually just pulled one out of the box and it was ready to go? Man, it's been a long time if we have. It's been a long time. What would have been just ready to go? Man. Maybe the Delta Mini? Like the Robo R1 way back in the day probably would have been. Maybe not ready to go, but it did come out of the box in one piece. Now I really can't think of any. I don't know. When will we see the snappy printed printer? Nappin', I don't know if you follow me on Patreon or not, but I just addressed that in yesterday's Patreon video. We might see that eventually. I would like to see it happen, honestly. I'm going to say the end stop needs just a bit of adjusting. I want to bring it down just a little. And the reason is, if you haven't adjusted one of these, I'm sure most of you have. I'm preaching to the choir here. But the bed wheels, when I went to spin it to adjust the level, they are going to be way too loose to bring the bed up enough to get it level where I want it. So I'm going to lower the end stop a bit so that when you home Z, the home will actually be a touch lower. Just wanted to explain that. It's very common. This one is adjustable. Not all of them are adjustable. So not a big deal. We're just going to home Z one more time to get it a little lower and check our level once again. Probably even a little lower than that. You don't want to make large changes when you're doing this, though. Or you will have a big hole in your PE ice sheet. I think Nappin's done that before. Well, 0.2 is a whole lot like 0.1. I don't think the leveling option has allowed for the offsets. So here's what we're going to do. Me? No. Me either, Nappin. I would never have done anything like that. Silly mistakes? No. No. I don't do those. I'm on YouTube. That means I'm a professional. That bed doesn't move like I think it should. I don't know if it's because of... I think it's just a little too tight. Whew! That's not a fun sound. Now see, you went and said this is the easiest one I've ever seen. We don't want to listen to that while it's printing. That's for sure. What is it dragging on? You can definitely see the wheel wear. I think maybe they're... It's fine back here. Okay. I think that'll be alright. We only scraped it up a little bit. Now are we a little better? Yes. This one is a little... like it's got some belt rub, maybe. The belt is really tight. I know I had the wrench for that just a second ago. Here it is. Nope, I didn't. It's rough enough that you would see it in the print. But I need to figure out where it is. Feels like it's on the carriage to me. I didn't tighten it up that much. Alright, well, let's go with it. Hopefully we didn't break it too much. Okay, back to what we were doing. You missed the folding action. We have to fold it down when we're done. What's up, Bill? Felice? Thanks for the sub. Okay, back to what we were doing. Anyway, tools, preheats. Bed. Home. Homo. Maybe. There's proper printing. The name sounds familiar, and I apologize if I don't. Isn't there a way you can go to like somebody's channel? It only lets me like punish said user. I tell you, there's just too many 3D printing channels out there. I can't keep up with them all. Now I got to go watch proper printing stuff. Anywho, hopefully this wasn't your design. Infinity Cube case, nice. Well, I got to check it out now. Okay. The commands are very delayed. Napping, it's pizza time. It almost acts like this one is triggered already. Bill is not familiar with this printer. The Kickstarter starts next week, I believe. This is an early release deal. Their Kickstarter info is in the description if you want to check it out. All right. What kind of filament do we want today? We did red last time. I got some gold somewhere. I got more of that green slime stuff. I guess I probably have just about every color that you could think of. Let's see what we can find. I really like that, what's it called? Like blue azure or royal blue. I think it's called royal blue. Print the Prusament stuff. I really dig that. You want to do bright pink again? We could do that. Yellow, not feeling yellow. So you get a choice. Do you want blue or pink? I see one for pink. 2, 3 for pink. It is pink. All right, so this has some sort of filament load sequence. There's no latch or anything. Pink hurts my eyes. So let's see what we got. Filament load. It does wait for you to complete preheating before it loads it. It's loading it. So we got 235, 235, 250. It is a direct drive extruder. What was the last one we did was 250, 250. How about we just stick with the same slicing profile we did last time? Only we don't need auto bed leveling. I think that would be more than close enough. What do we got for... I got all my usual settings. Let's go with that. Let's attempt to use the SD card that came with the printer. Swear. Can't keep things for more than 5 minutes at a time. Kind of feels like this stream was just a continuation of the last stream. Is that what happens when we do too many in a row? They give you all the 3D printable files, some software. Looks like they give you a CH340 driver, Repetier host, Cura, all stuff on the card. So if you need that kind of thing, it is on the SD card. Filament has been loaded. I confirmed it. SD card has been loaded. Printing. Oh, they threw up their logo while it's printing. Too much glare for you to see that, but take my word for it. Kind of nifty. X doesn't want to home. I'm pretty sure it homed the first time, though. Let's just see what it does here. X doesn't move. I'm pretty sure we were able to home the first time. X has no juice. Well, that's just a bummer. There ain't nothing easy. The X plug is really close to the carriage. I mean, the wire is on the bottom so that it can run through this extrusion here. And that makes it look a lot cleaner for sure. But it's almost just a bit pinched because of that. Maybe that's why they gave me the extra driver. I'm sure that it moved, though, when we homed the first time. I'm sure X moved once. There is a voltage switch in there, but we wouldn't have gotten this far if that was wrong. Well, that's the end of the stream. See you later. I would totally do that to you. I'm gonna go have lunch now. Bye. The folding might have been a cable clamping. It could have been. But at least now we get to see what's inside it. Catch you on the next one. You guys crack me up. So, how's everyone else's day going? Mine's good. Whip out the Prusa Mini. Almost sounds kind of dirty. I suppose you want to see in there too. I'll get you a look at that. It is set to 115 for us, just to confirm. So there's your power supply. It says it's a 240/24. I'm gonna pull the power on it before I go digging around in there. Looks. It is a Robin Nano. Honestly, I was gonna say it looks like a Robin to me. It is a Robin. All of the stepper drivers are hot glued in, which is good if you're going to have a movable printer that's, you're going to be moving and folding and such. And such. Well, let's poke around a bit, shall we? Asraf? Gonna say is how you pronounce that. Hello, how are you? I don't think I'm going to be able to do this while you watch. That's creepy anyway. Just want to make sure we don't have any broken pins. Alright, so we didn't get smashed. That's good. Nope, it was already on. Batman PSU. Ba-dum-bum. Ooh, that time I heard an electrical pop. But where is it? So this board gets fed by this ribbon cable. I think that cover needs to come off so I can see what's going on in there. Got a cold down here today. I'm going to start complaining about things. I don't think I have a small enough wrench to get inside there. Did the stream die or did chat just go quiet? It looks like the stream's okay. You're just hanging on everything that I do. I have seen chat break, so I'm always kind of curious. You knew it wasn't going to be that easy. The wires, so this whole thing is supported by, I know you can't see any of this, but the wire is supported by, I don't think ceiling cam is going to do you any good either, the ribbon cable into these little breakout boards, which feed in the ribbon cable. This end stop has been pulled out some. So the fact that it wasn't getting any end stop feedback, which I just heard the motor slam on. Don't do that at home, kids. So the end stop cable going into the breakout board for the ribbon cables was about halfway not plugged in. So that appears to have solved the issue. So, game on, car, game on. So we will continue. I guess those should have been hot glued as well. Now I know there has to be something wrong with chat. Yes. Chat stalled. I'm sorry. Chat is back in my view. Sorry about that. It's just me. It's not you. It's me. Said that a few times. I don't think I've ever said that, but okay. Well, at least we got a view inside the machine. You can see what's in there and what board you're going to get and what the power supply looks like. Right? Something good came of that. Oh, we really miss our time together. How many size wrenches can I get out here? 12, 13? Did I check for shorts to the chassis? I did not at this time. It looks to be just a bad, nothing bad, a missed connection. A lot of people check the shorts. Everybody misses the longs. I'll just be happy if I can find all 6 screws. No, it is not automated. That would be pretty sweet if it was Transformer style and it folded down. Okay. Nope, it still doesn't like X. Now, I saw it move. There's only so much troubleshooting I can do. Where's my USB cable? Screen time over. So it says X is open. It says X is triggered. So the end stop works now. I'm wondering if there might be a slight problem with that breakout board. Walter's here. What's up, Walter? Kivo is ready to melt plastic. Somebody's taken all the YouTube bandwidth. Wasn't me. Joel Telling must be online. I think that's who you're talking about. Just leave the bottom off for maintenance. Well, I can tell you, I'm not going to put this cover back on today. I guess next I will reseat the ribbon cables. I guess all of them. Gary, thank you very much for the 10. That is much appreciated. 10 for parts. Thank you. Swap X and Y at the board. I would, but they're hot glued in. If it comes down to that, we will. But after I adjusted that end stop, after I put the end stop cable back in, which I verified the end stop is working, I could move X manually. But then after I put it back together, of course, I could not. Because, you know, that's how things work. Pew it. It does fold. I saw it fold. Thing's gonna let out like a giant spark. That is such a bummer. Not for me, because I mean this is gonna be an early day for me, but for the person that made this. I guess I'll take it apart one more time. PID tuning the Mosquito Magnum. Excellent. That's good. Boy, it is really windy outside today. I can hear it from here. You would like me to take the power off? You don't want to live dangerously? It's just 110. It only kills you occasionally. Hmm. How are these things labeled anyway? I'm gonna guess logically. My favorite non-actual word response in the world. So the driver has the least amount of glue on it. So that's what I'm going to try first. Sound good to you? Swap the whole board. The board probably, I'd have to find some, I'd have to whip up some firmware. That might take us a little bit if I had to do that. Are the TMCs in UART mode? Bill, I don't know what brand these are, so I couldn't tell you if the pinout was correct. They're not, they're white. They're not a brand I'm familiar with. Maybe Feistek or something? I think, are Feistek white, the white ones, and Erie 1 is the yellow one? I don't remember. Well, it's moving now, but that's what it did last time. It moves right this very second. So, shh. Nobody pay attention to it. So when troubleshooting, start with the easiest solution first. So that way you don't have to take off glue. That wasn't very sound advice. Don't follow that. You probably should have started with the cables first, but hey. Instead of throwing parts at it. It probably would print out outside. You're just moving your overhangs to another portion of the bed. No bottom. We like to call that around here porky pigging it. You have to put in the stepper driver. No, it has a stepper driver, but this one seemed to be having... I still haven't fully confirmed if it was the driver that was the problem, but they did give me some extras. So maybe they had a known issue. I don't know. I will ask them, though, and get back to you. James? Sonic Alchemy James is here. What is up? Robin Mack is here. How's it going? Who needs X anyway? I just want to print in a straight line back and forth. Yes, good to have you here, James. Glad you could join us. Foldable 2D. Did I break it? Yes, I did. But then I might have fixed it. I'm not real happy with the fix, though. Clear bed level, bricked it? I didn't touch that one, but that's no good if that's what bricked it. Hammer? I didn't strike it. A Dremel printing on a moving pendulum. Wow. I think it might be a driver problem was the cause of death. Fold it 45, add a belt, bam. Knocked it up a notch. How tangled is the filament now? Probably pretty tangled after a few flip overs there. I only spun it like, 4 or 5 times. But there's not very much on the spool, so it can't get too far away. X is moving. My level looks to be completely off and cutting into the bed now, which is probably expected. It's really hard to see around this large printed shell. In fact, the camera can probably see it better than me. Not my best work, but it'll probably fly. Part fan works. Okay. Andy's here. What's up, Andy? Is there baby stepping? That's good question. There is. So that's cool. We'll be okay now. It's going to try to focus on that danger sticker, though, the whole time we do this. Okay, so shouldn't I restart the print? Nah, it's fine. It seems quiet. It is quiet. The fans on this are pretty quiet. There's no fan on the power supply, so that definitely helps. They are 2208 drivers, so that's going to help as well. Jim Sellers is here. What's up, Jim? The sticker says, warning, do not fold. Don't get your hand in there when printer is folding. So, all the stuff I missed in the chat, how's everybody doing? I feel like I took kind of a detour and left you behind. I really like the close-up cam. I know we've talked about this before. We talked about it in the last stream, but I can actually see the print better on the feed than I can on the table. I want to get a camera mount. So yeah, so on this one I'm using just a mini tripod, and it's got a little thing you can crank it up to about this high or so. The lowest it'll go is about like this. I would love to have one that was actually table height, because there's a lot of things that I show, like when we're putting things together, that I'm showing it kind of from an overhead. It would be really useful if it was only about this high, but I'm not sure. I mean, the camera is this high, right? So I'm not sure what that holder would look like. It almost needs to be just like on a little trolley or something. I don't know. I need to devise something like that. It would make it better.
Doing well, sir. Much love.
Jim, thank you very much for the 5. I am glad you are doing well. Jothy Vlogs has subscribed. Thank you. What are my thoughts about the BQBX worth 310? I don't know, and I really can't answer that yet, because I will have a video on all of the stuff about the BQ before the end of the Kickstarter. It's going to be kind of like the day before, but it will be out, so you can make a better judgment for yourself. I haven't dug around on it quite yet. I've done some of that video. I haven't completed it. I hope to get the rest of it done today. But I'm going to show you what it looks like inside, compare it a little bit, so you can make a better judgment. I'm not sure about, value, but maybe I can make a better call after I do all the rest of that video. So I'm not ready to call it yet. Max is here. What's up, Max? We can design a stand for you. All right. I was thinking about it, so maybe Tom and I can get together and figure something out. On the Dragon Hotend, I don't know much about the Dragon at all. I don't have one. I've seen pictures of it. That's about it. That's as much as I know about the Dragon. Bill is here. A swing arm tripod. Okay. Music Dad backed it. Okay. What are my thoughts on it folding? Well, it folded. It folded straight up, and I put some bolts in it, and it was done. Tom and I actually have a few things that we have still yet to discuss, because I haven't had any time. Nice, nice. Thank you, Bill. So, proper printing is in here. They were talking about the foldable. I will have to go check that out. So, let's talk business for a minute. Something I don't like talking about. So I was watching some of the last stream, a bit of it, which was a good stream. It was fun. I tossed things over my shoulder. And then I was talking to some of our moderators, because the moderators on my channel, I actually know some of them. You know, I've met them in person. We've shared meals and such. I was talking to some of them, and the question was from the mods, like, what do you allow in your chat? Because I don't really have any rules for my chat. I really have never thought about it much, because everybody in here is pretty cool. I mean, we don't have problems in chat. We don't have, you know, any trolls that show up or anything like that. You guys handle it, no problem. I have a few moderators that are pretty dedicated. And anything like swearing or, you know, anything that's out of the scope, you know, just people being bots or whatever, being inappropriate, YouTube blocks all that anyway. So we really don't have to deal with that either. But again, the moderators were kind of wanting to know, what are the rules in my chat? And honestly, it was a fair question, because how do you moderate something if you don't know the parameters of it, right? So if you see somebody doing something, do you let them go? Do you kick them out? But I really had never thought about it until now. So it really wasn't fair to the guys that I have modding this. Mike, Never Lets Machines Win, Chris Gulata, Sergio, Nappin, Walter. So, I mean, what are they? They don't know what to do. And so I kind of felt bad about that. So I was forced to actually do some paperwork and sit down and think about it for a minute. You know, what would the rules in the chat be? And pretty much the rules in my chat are: be nice, be polite. You know, it's pretty easy. So I came up with a quick couple of things, the guidelines just for the mods. And if Nightbot works correctly, and you know, if somebody's new or they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, the mods can use that now. And I haven't told all the mods, so I was just talking with a couple. So if you don't know about it and you're a moderator on this channel, Killa, thank you very much for the $20. That's much appreciated. But if you don't, so if you watch this back and you're a mod, and you can watch the stream. Now, if Nightbot works correctly, you can do exclamation point rules in the chat, and it should pop up a list. So if one of the mods wants to do that, then it will show you what it's going to look like. And you have to be a moderator. So if somebody's not familiar, somebody's new, somebody wants to know what's going on, what can I do in your chat, which I really don't see why you'd ask that, then the mods now have something that they can use, pop up the rules, and if they continue to do whatever they're doing, then you can ban them. So at least we're on a level playing field. And there we go. It should have stacked them better. But that's what you're going to get. So there are your rules, and I should probably put something in there about being rules. And I tried to stack it, but it didn't work out. So the first one, this is a 3D printing channel. Duh. So hopefully you're here for 3D printing. And that's what we're doing here. We don't veer off into, who knows whatever. And that leads into the second one with politics, race, and religion. Be smart. We don't talk about any of that there. You know that. Most all of you have been here. Be polite. Don't spam the chat. If you do have a question though, and I miss it, feel free to repost it or at me, Chris Riley, so that I can see it. Because I can't get to all of them. And if it's a genuine 3D printing question, I want to try to get to it. That's what we're here for. And then the last one, no self-promotion. And the only reason why I say that is because of the last thing I just said. People that come in, and I totally get it. YouTube is hard. I've been doing it for years, and growing is slow. But people that have something they need to promote, or they need subscribers. All of us need subscribers. I totally get that. But imagine you're a new user in the chat for the first time, okay, and you have 6 people in here saying, well, subscribe to this, or go ahead to this and check this out.
Keep the amazing content coming, my good man.
Thank you very much, Dan, for the $5. But imagine that, and you see that through the chat. You might not feel like that you're going to get your question answered, or that you are comfortable interacting, you know, talking about 3D printing. What if you have a problem and you didn't feel like you wanted to put it in the chat because things were so messy? So that's the only reason why I say that. I am not one to be against promoting others' things. I do it all the time. Like we were talking about Luke's SLS printer. If I see something cool, I'm going to mention it, because that's how things should work. But again, this was not a speech to tell you the rules of the channel. It was just something to give the moderators something that they can go by, so they know what to do. I kind of felt bad that they were a little lost on the whole thing. So that's why that's there. You can use it as a mod. If you watch this back, that's a tool you can use. I will try to format it a little better next time. So there you go. And Nappin comes back with breaking channel, second to 3D printing channel. Absolutely. Overlord mode activated. Might add use English in chat. You know, I've seen that on other people's channels. Maybe occasionally we have somebody that comes in, but most of the time, I mean, if you're not using English, I can't respond to it anyway. So Google Translate is your friend. Maybe we should tag that on the end. Brian Frank, thank you for the sub. Print is looking good. Yes, yeah, basically common sense. That is greatly appreciated. Well said, well said. So let's get back to our print. What do we got going on here? All the business stuff is now done. I'm going to try it just to make sure it works, because it did work when somebody did it. There it is. I don't know if Nightbot will actually just let me stack that. Move this over just a bit. Nightbot, I use you all the time. Why do I have to log in every time? What stepper driver would I recommend? It's going to be hard to recommend anything except 2209s at this point. If you're using NEMA 17s, you don't need a whole lot of juice or anything like that. 2209s is going to be where it's at for the most part. Can we make that any better? And unfortunately, you can't try any of your Nightbot stuff when the chat, when YouTube is not live. It won't let you do it just for testing purposes. I tried it before I got on today. You can use command variables. Oh, those are just preset variables. I was hoping it would give me a way to put in spaces. Yeah, it just tags it all in one big line. Nightbot. Are A4988 still good enough? Transverse sensor tripod. Okay, thank you, Bill. Are they still good enough? A498s are fine. They're a bit noisy, and as your printer gets more refined, like you get to nailing it down and things are starting to get sorted out, then you start seeing the electrical artifacts in that chip, the old Allegra chip, like candy striping is a big one. They still work. They're super cheap. So I mean, if you don't need anything super awesome or you don't mind the noise, A498s are okay. Line breaks in command response. Does YouTube support line breaks? Have they ever been good? I guess that's the truth. Maybe they were the only one. How is the folding aspect? Well, it came folded out of the box, and it is very flat packed. The extruder kind of sticks out, but it will go right back in that box. I can guarantee that. We'll fold it up again after the print's done. How about that? Um, so I have an option that I can use it to send 6 separate messages to one command. Maybe that's the way I should do it. There's people in here that probably know more about Nightbot than I do. It's about time to get more coffee. So unfortunately, I have to test these things while you're watching because they don't work when the stream isn't active. I guess I could, stop being lazy and do do this like in a private stream or something. But why would I want to do that? Chris Riley Nightbot programming channel. Well, you're watching a Benchy. Uh, can you run a 2 on a Bowden style? I don't see why not. I mean, you might be more prone to jams and things, but it shouldn't impact you. You're gonna have to have your settings appropriate, right? You can't use the same speed and all of that you would, on a 4, because I mean there is the only thing that you would be impacted by is the flex in the tube, right? So you got to be kind of careful with it. Be a little more ginger than you would with the 4, but yeah, you should be able to do it. The Benchy channel. Welcome to the Benchy channel. I feel like I should have commercials like like RoboCop or Total Recall. Bought a Big Tree Tech SKR Mini E3. Blue screen. So what was the actual issue? So you installed it and then the screen didn't work? Is that what you're trying to say? A sunken Benchy channel? Note that the input So let's try this. I'm totally going to butcher that name. We're going to call you Moss. Thanks for the sub. I don't want to butcher it for you. So what does this do? Yes, the surface is like Anycubic Ultra Base. I've seen that on a couple of machines recently. See you later, Sergio. Thanks for coming. Any chances on a dedicated firmware stream? You think that would be handy? That would be a really long-winded, dry stream. I don't know personally how all the features work. Maybe Mr. Latine and I could do a side-by-side stream, and I'll go through it, and then he can answer the technical questions. That would be one long stream, though. We could do it though. Yeah, it's putting down some nice layers for a foldable machine, isn't it? Yes, it is Z-hop. There's 0.6 of Z-hop on this guy. Yeah, like what does this setting do? That type of stream? Hold on, I'm gonna test this thing real quick. Come on, Nightbot. Nope, it just does the second one. It doesn't do the first one. Z-hop is nice. Z-hop can save you in certain situations. Nightbot actually has some really good documentation. Hmm. Hmm. Put it in all caps. Well, I don't want to yell at people. Whose GitHub is this? Oh, that's Microsoft. I was hoping there was just like a /n or something. Oh well. Invariant Virus. That's a pretty unique name. Thank you for the sub. All right. I will I'll fix it later. And we'll have it for next time. How about that? So anyway, what other questions you got? Total Distortion. I don't know that game. Nar B, thank you. A dedicated firmware Discord. Welcome, Dave Randolph, by the way. Always good to see you. Nice and smooth. I agree. After we got it up and running, it's printing very well. You kind of want to check it out as a whole. I know as soon as I put that cover back on over there, though, it'll stop working. I'm pretty sure it was a driver issue, but you know how that works. That is Prussiament Miss Pink, I believe is what they call that. Yes, Miss Pink. I gotta look it up. It's insane. All right, I will look it up. David Olson is here. What's up, David Olson? Bob is here. JD can't. I don't. JDC, AMC. Welcome. Thank you. Red Light Mike is here. We did open it up and check out the board, John. It is a Nano. It's a MKS Robin 1.2. Love some more Clipper coverage. I get a lot of questions on Clipper. I don't know that I'm the guy to give the Clipper advice. I don't use it. I probably should. I probably need to set up a machine that just runs Clipper so I can answer more Clipper questions. Maybe it was a ploy to get me to open it. That's a good point. Maybe it was. But seriously, though, we're gonna go. So we'll go back to the print here in a minute, and we're also gonna get some coffee in a second. But seriously, on this printer, I don't know what the actual sale price is. Now we had a slight problem. I get that. We had a bad driver. They gave me a spare one. But I don't know what the sale price is going to be. But at $200, let's just say $200, you get the printer. It's a lot like an Ender 3, but it has, you know, a nicer case and all that. It folds up. You can take it anywhere. The consistency, if you move a 3D printer from one spot to the other, might not be great. So you know, take that into account. You're going to have a little bit of extra setup when you set it down and fold it, right? But the fact that it lays down, I can put it in the box and then, you know, move it around. I think that's kind of attractive for that price point. This is not a review, of course. I will have to use it for a while. David, thank you very much for the $10. That is much appreciated. I will have to use it for a while and give you my opinions, but just the fact that you have dual lead screws, you get touchscreen, which I'm neither here nor there on. I really don't care. I like the click wheel myself, but hey. You do get some type of Volcano direct drive extruder, which should be able to kick out plastic relatively quickly. Maybe we'll ought to test that. What if these nozzles are different sizes now that I think about it? No, they're both 0.4s. Okay. That would have been kind of cool if they would have put it like an 8 and a 1 in there. But anyway. But at that price, you might want to consider it. I don't know. Because Ender 3s are getting a little bit more expensive now. They have 32-bit boards. Take a look. I'm not going to urge you to buy something one way or another. I get no kickbacks off it, only except I get the printer. But might be kind of attractive at $200. That's just my 2 cents at this point. An ANET A8 with covers. It's a little bit further than that. Would I get a collapsible? Maybe. Maybe if I ever traveled again, I would get a collapsible printer. Wider stance on the Y? Yep. Do you know if there's some external stepper driver with TMC drivers? Clint, I'm not sure what that means. How much of a learning curve is there to start out with a Duet 2 Wi-Fi? It's not that bad because you get the riprap configuration tool, James. And then from there, it's just some text editing. So the riprap tool is pretty good. You just kind of run through it, put in some of your parameters, and you should be okay. It's not huge. You wouldn't have any problems with it. I know that. I'm familiar with your word. Are the spares standard nozzle drivers? The driver is the regular old Polulu silent step board, so that is standard, yes. I don't know about the driver configuration, if it is in standalone, UART, whatever that might be. I can't tell you there, because I don't know that board. The nozzles look to be standard Volcano type nozzles, so I'm going to say yes. Any experience with the Olson Ruby nozzle? No, I've never been able to afford one. I like the direct drive as well. Like if you had drive strep and enable out, are there boards that support like you mean like add-on boards? I don't know of one right off the top of my head with just those 4 signals. I know the signals you're talking about. There are some that you gain support by using the extra pins on the LCD. So there's logic pins there that you can use, or communication pins there that you can use. I don't know of one that's just like a breakout. Duet does have them, but they're for Duet 3 and they run on the CAN bus, so that's a lot different. I don't know of one right offhand. Ruby nozzles may come down in price. That'd be good. How sturdy? It's very sturdy after you get it folded. I mean, it's the same as any other i3 design. I mean, it bolts up exactly the same way as most of these do. So it's plenty sturdy. How easy is it to level? It's the same to level as any other manual level system. I mean, it's the same old thumb screw deal. There's no magic to it, so it's pretty easy. Gary, thanks for coming up. Thanks for the super chats. Much appreciated. We will see you soon. Okay, it's coffee time. Everybody ready for a short break, and then we'll finish up this Benchy. Let's get you just a little bit higher on that Benchy there. I don't think I did you any favors on that at all. Hey, well, that might be a little better. We'll see. So have a look at this, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, I'm back. How are we doing? They are 2208s. You would argue Duet is easier than the initial setup on Duet. I think if you were going in fresh, Dave, I totally agree. If you were going in fresh, Duet has an easier set of tools. Marlin, you know, so many of us came up with Marlin, but Marlin is like they give you full access to do whatever you want, right? You don't riprap. You could get in there and probably thrash around if you really wanted to, but Marlin's a pretty heavy hitter as far as modifications and such. What features does 2209 have? Okay, so let's break down the 2 series driver real quick. So there are a bunch of them, but you get into like the 26 series, the larger body drivers, then you're not going to be in the same silent step board mode that you would be. So the 2100 was the original one, or the one that you started seeing more commonly. Then they moved to the 2130. The 21, and they have, like, we're going to start old. They had less amperage capabilities, so your heat to power ratio was going to be a lot higher on the 21. So the original 21, and then the 2130 came out. 2130 has stall guard. I believe it was stall guard 2. I don't remember exactly. Stall guard allows you to use sensorless homing. So when the axis detects that stall has happened, it will stop or respond, however your program, goes with that. That's the main difference. But 2130s ran really hot. So if you're using them in a silent step board, on a board that doesn't have a lot of copper behind it, you're not going to be able to cool it correctly. So now jump to 2208. 2208 does not have sensorless homing, but the current rating is a lot higher than the 2130. So you're going to be able to keep it a lot cooler. It does not have stall guard. But you can get, just the 2130 as well, you can get diag information. You have a diag pin, so you can set a few parameters on it, like your voltage, your current level, your reference voltage, where you would usually use a trim pot. On those, you can use the communication to set the current in the software. Also, with micro stepping, you can change steps. You don't need jumpers. So that's part of the smart driver package. You can do all that on 2208. And then we go to 2209. 2208 also had a few issues here and there with different features, like linear advance. Then you move to 2209, it has everything. It's got stall guard. You can use sensorless homing. It has even a higher current rating. They run much cooler than all the other drivers. So they're pretty much, I mean, if you're going to buy drivers nowadays, if in the silent stepper board mode, that's the one you want to shoot for right now. So that's what you're going to get. Basically, though, the 2209 is going to be more stable with more features, and you get sensorless homing if you'd like to use it. Voltage levels on 21s and 51s is much higher than the 22. Voltage I never really concerned, but that's probably a good point. Because a lot of this stuff runs from like at the driver, it's somewhat minimal, but that's probably a good point to mention if you are going to use it in a wider solution rather than in the hobby 3D printing that we're concerned with. That's a good point. Always consult your data sheet, my friends, before you invest in any kind of driver. Trinamic for sure has excellent data, almost too much for you to be able to understand, but they have quick sheets that will help you out. Curious if I have thoughts about the Flash Forge. Which one is that? Guider? I don't even know their model names. I don't have any thoughts about it. I don't know anything. I don't know much about Flash Forge altogether. The only thing I've had experience with is the Adventurer 3, and it's okay. It's an interesting little machine. Not the best thing I've ever seen, but it's fine. It looks good. I would say 2209s, if you're using NEMA 17s, it is probably a safe bet in most applications. $2256, I don't know the specs on that, but I mean, as they ratchet up, you can bet that you're going to be able to push a lot more out of it. Most of the large ones that I see use that 5000 series. Yeah, like 5160. Vincent, that is a great question. I don't know what driver most of the closed loop steppers use. Those, and I'm talking about like the breakout boards that you can install on the back of the motor. I'm not sure. I don't have a lot of information about it, and I don't have a set. So I'm not exactly sure. If somebody in the chat has a set, I'm sure they could elaborate. Yes, the printer is very quiet. The part fan is probably the loudest thing on it, and it's a pretty quiet machine. The part cooling seems to be doing a fantastic job, by the way. The retraction on this is set to 0.8, if that gives you any idea. Are 2209s pin compatible? They are pin compatible for, if that's what you mean, with A4988s. They fit in the same slot, but most of the time they're actually reversed. On the A4988, commonly you will see the chip on top, where on a Trinamic driver you will see it on the bottom. So mind your enable and direction pins. You probably just have to flip it 180 degrees to get it to work. But if you get them on a silent stepper board, yes, they are compatible. Now that's not something for the actual chip. I don't know the chip pin out. I don't follow the schematic that quickly, or that well. But I don't have that kind of knowledge. But for the silent step board, yes, you should be able to just flip them. Nitram is saying that the Allegra chips are used on those boards, so yeah, I would probably, if I had to guess, I would probably, most of those boards have those, and those are going to be just a touch loud, but they still work. But not the 988. The only Allegra chips that I have experience with is the 988 and the 982. Sounds like a droid war. 2208 to 2209s for the extruder. Well, so 2208, there was some talk about it doesn't work with linear advance if you use it on the extruder. I've never tested that myself, but it's been pretty common, so I'm just going to believe it. 2209s, I've never had a problem with linear advance. I've used it many times. I don't know if maybe there is some artifacting or something like that is better on other chips, like the LV chips, or there's a handful of other drivers that you can get out there. Maybe the artifacting is better on those style chips. 100%, I couldn't tell you why. I think the 2209s for a hobby style printer work pretty well for all of the axes. So just take that for what it's worth. Nova has used linear advance on 2208, so there's somebody else that can make it work. Tom says it freaks out. So and that's exactly, see, two people back to back have different results. That's exactly what I'm trying to say is I've never really, I haven't had a lot of experience in that condition, so I don't know. Bigfoot drivers, I've heard a lot about them. I don't have any of those. Some people say Star Wars or Star Trek. I've never really been into Star Trek, so I would have to say Star Wars, but I'm not super into either. But I do love Han Solo and Chewie. Who doesn't, right? Sine wave setting in Marlin. Okay. Maybe we just need to test that. Maybe that would be a good video. We'll just once and for all figure out how to make that work. RoboCop moving noises. WF Is that a Q or an O? It's an O. WFO, thank you for coming to the stream. I hope you were able to fix their fridge, because it's awesome having a fridge. There is no Star Wars or Star Trek. It's both. It's both. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with this. It turns out a pretty nice print. I do think we should do some tests, though, where we print, we fold it, we unfold it, and then just see how level it might be when we put it back together. Spock, I am your father. Andy, I am not really into sci-fi shows. I don't watch many. I don't get the chance to watch much TV altogether. And I haven't in a long time. So I don't know any of those shows, unfortunately. My wife is super into sci-fi and all those shows. So if I needed information on them, I would have to go to her for that. Jessica Ryan. I hope you are well. Thank you. I am doing great. Thank you for asking. This is the EZT3D S2 Foldable. So the whole gantry actually, in fact, let's widen out just a minute and take another look while we're talking about it. So the whole X gantry folds down. There's just 4 bolts, 2 on each side. You can fold it down, and it comes in a cardboard box with some foam that you can pack it, and the box has a handle on it, so you can carry it around. It is currently on Kickstarter. The Kickstarter campaign should be starting next week, I believe. And the early bird Kickstarter price is $200 if you want to check it out. I still haven't cleaned up the cardboard and boxes and such from Thursday's stream. They should make a backpack accessory. They absolutely should. The box should have some spots to put straps. That would make it even more awesome. But I'm glad we got it working, so that's cool. And before print looks pretty good, man. It's got a little bit of the skin on it, but pretty normal. Would I try to build myself a hang printer? I have a hang printer. I built one. I've built two, actually. I built version 2 and version 3. Soylent Green. I have seen that. That was a while ago. That is for sure. How did the hang printers go? They went okay. I got videos and everything out there on them. I don't know how many people have videos out there building a hang printer, but they work okay. I printed a full-size bar stool with it, so that happened. The problem with the hang printer is it takes like a dedicated room to use it, because if anything happens out of the ordinary, you're kind of amiss. What is a hang printer? It is a printing head that is hung by fishing line around the room, so it can be quite large if you wish. That is true. Tom and Torbjorn did a hang printer build on live streams. They did a couple of live streams at the Trinamic headquarters. That was a good build. I watched that. Yes, there are just a handful of videos out there. If you search hang printer, you will find them. Yeah, the stream that Tom and Torbjorn did is good. It's really long. You got to be willing to watch it all, but they really show what it takes to get it done. The newest hang printer is really cool. I saw he put something out on Twitter not too long ago. He has turned the drums, the hubs that the line feeds on. He's turned them on their edge, so now they're vertical. And the mechanism that he's using to line them up would be much better than the version 3. I don't know how far he is with that version. I would be willing to give it another try, but man, it is a real headache. Honestly, it's not an easy task. It took me weeks to get that done. Uh, kind of the room is the print volume, not actually. You have the same constraints you do on a Delta. So it's in kind of a vase mode. You can print pretty large at the bottom, but it starts to get really constrained. But I mean, if you had a really tall room, then you'd be able to print a lot larger. But you can print pretty big. Arts and crafts, yeah, 1 meter a second. With the belt bed, I don't currently have any opinions of the CR30 with the belt bed. I think it's cool to have Infinite Z. I think that's a cool idea. I really don't know. Carl was on here. Carl's kind of our belt printer guy. I really don't know in practice about belt printers. They seem to work pretty well, but I really don't have an opinion one way or the other about them, honestly. Print yourself and then hide them in your dad's closet. Your printer and your semi-truck, that's awesome. Belt consistency will be key. That is well said. Well said. "40-foot long gutter guard." Wouldn't that be cool? Now that's a great idea, Tom. Any experience with Maslow? No, I know what they are. My good friend Uncle Ron has one. I don't know how he's getting along with it, but you're right. It's a 2D hang printer, basically. It's a CNC router that you tie off, and you can cut out, full 4x8 sheets, things like that. I don't have any experience with them, but it's a really interesting design. That's been a while since that thing was out. The longest Lego brick. Motorhead Mitch is here. What's up, Mitch? Start and end G codes for the Chimera? Are you having a specific issue? Because it shouldn't be different than any other extruder. Any experience with endless printers? I'm not sure I know what that is. Are you talking about something that's sequential? Or sequential? Is that the right word? Anyway, the ones that clear themselves off. Have I done any 3D scanning? No, I have not. I used years ago. Uh, Autodesk had a thing called Catch, and we used to use Catch. I even had like a rig that you could put your phone in and spin it around and try to get all of the try to get it as best you could. We used that quite a bit, but then it became obsolete, and it never really worked all that well anyway. But that's really the only experience I have with 3D scanning. Yes, you can build hang printer real cheap. It's a belt instead of an. So there were some folks at Earth, the last Earth that we actually attended, that had just a whole bunch of monoprice minis set up, and they all had that belt on them. So they would chain them together. I think they had like 30 or something, a bunch of them, but they would print on that, and then it would dump it, and then they could keep going. I don't have any experience with them. I have seen them in action. I think it's pretty cool, but no, I don't have any firsthand experience. Catch worked okay. It's a little dated for nowadays, but it you can get it done. Uh, it looks pretty normal to me. So maybe it's just the camera. I don't know, but it looks pretty normal to me. It looks okay. Plastic boats for all. Oh, so you're getting oozing when it starts again. Well, I wouldn't retract in a Chimera. I wouldn't retract it too much. Um, I mean more than like a millimeter or so, or you might get Might get a jam in the brake. That Benchy, that is a good looking Benchy. I am very impressed with this Benchy. Printing temps for this one, I believe I have this one set at 210 and 60 on the bed. Prussian mint, it's a little bit hotter than some PLAs, I would say. Some PLA, you can get around 200 or so. What's the recommended on these? They say 215 plus or minus 10. So 210-ish is what I run Prussian mint at. It is Miss Pink, David. Music Dad, that print in place engine is harder than it looks. It's quite the tricky print to get down the first layer down quite right. Yeah, somebody was just asking me about that the other day. There's a Thingiverse project for an MMU unit. You can expand it. I have seen it. I don't know if I would ever make one or not. It looks like quite the project, and then you'd have to get it working. So I don't know. It looks pretty interesting though. Do I usually print at max recommended temperatures for better layer adhesion? No. I print at temperatures where the print's going to look the best, but you're still somewhat in the ballpark for it to have some rigidity, because you're going to lose one way or the other. You're going to lose quality or strength. So it just depends what you're printing, but no, not for bed adhesion. The filament holder, if you go to Thingiverse and search spool holder, it's the 5th one down. Or at least it was the other day. It's got clipper support. Interesting. To print food. I guess I need to go back and watch the proper printing videos. I feel like I'm missing out. Yeah, 240 is a little hot. Sometimes PLA gets a little bit drippy. MMU2S doesn't have clipper support. I'd have to think about that to think about how you would do that. Well, I will definitely check them out. And that just goes to show you that you know so many people. You've been around this for years. You know so many people in the 3D printing community, but you can't ever know them all. The first person I ever saw do a foldable printer was well, the first video I ever saw of one. There was on the old Ben Heck show. He built one to go to some sort of conference, but he did it in a briefcase, so like he could take it on a plane. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but it's if you watch Ben Heck, he's always very entertaining. But he even had like a spot for a coaster so he could put his beer down and all that. It was pretty entertaining. Custom module or G-code macros. Yeah. I need to install Clipper again just to see what's changed. Uh, Jessica, what did I do before 3D printing? Well, I'm the kind of person that always has something going on. um, so, man, how far back do we want to go? So when I got into YouTube doing 3D printing, before that I was on YouTube. So I've been in IT my whole life. That's always been my day job. Uh, when I was a kid, I had some really terrible jobs, but uh, most of my career has been in IT, so that's what I do during the day. Well, before I got into 3D printing on YouTube, I was doing, uh, this was probably like in 2015 and before, I was doing cloud computing testing with OpenStack. So I had a YouTube channel where we did test cases. We just went through and tested it, and it really wasn't for content, it was more for my reference. And I had like a couple hundred subscribers that would follow along with the testing or whatever. But I would install things, I would put out my findings via video just because it was easier than writing it down. And uh, I had like 12 machines here in the basement. So I did that for a couple of years. And then I got into 3D printing and kind of stopped with my hardware got really out of date. And I stopped with the cloud testing and I switched over to 3D printing. So that's what I did right before that. Before that, I don't remember what I did. Before that, I was in a band pretty much full time. So anytime that I had spare time, I would work on music. And I did that down here as well. So I've always had something going. I've never been a huge gamer since like back in the Nintendo days. I do play a little bit here and there, but not very much. Put it in a Delta. I really should do some more Delta stuff. Yes, I've met Ben Heck a couple of times. He is always very nice. The last time I saw Ben Heck, I said, "Hey Ben, how's it going?" He's like, "Hey, the guy that falls down the stairs." I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." uh, Filament width. I've always dabbled with a filament width sensor. Like what would be the best way to implement it. I've seen them with like, uh, where you hack a tire depth gauge and things like that, but I've never gotten one to work that I was satisfied with. Mosquito Hotends on the Chimera, not that I am aware of. The how it is built is around the heatsink, which will fit the throat. You can put a volcano end on it, but Mosquito is probably not going to be possible. See, and that's the YouTube algorithm for you. I've never seen one of his videos on my homepage. You were part of the team that produced the Linux that HP uses to run OpenStack. Nice, Bill. So we have more in common than we thought. Back in the day, I used to play everything. You know, like all the old school games. The new school games, I really liked The Last of Us and Last of Us 2. I did finish Last of Us 2 recently. I really dig the Batman games. I will play if there's a new Batman game out. I will play it. I don't think I've played them all. Now we're talking like newer games, right? And the Spider-Man games are also really cool. Outside of that, I used to play Grand Theft Auto. I haven't played that in quite a while, but I used to play it occasionally. It's okay. That's really about it. Have I played Minecraft? Yes, I have played Minecraft. I've played Glenn from Fun King, Xander, Glenn and Xander. I have played Minecraft with Xander and Bennett, the 3D Maker Kid. I've got on their server and played with them a couple of times. So I have played Minecraft. They thought it was fun to have me play on their server. You're a Kubernetes guy, right on. I don't do it at work. I was on the OpenStack stand-up team at work, but I switched back to I came back to my mainframe group. What did I play in the band? I've been in a couple different bands in a couple of different positions. The last band I was in was my own band. I played the guitar, and then in bands before that, I was actually mostly the drummer. Ben Heck is where you first saw a 3D printer. I think the Ben Heck show is where I first did. That's the first place I ever saw a tutorial for 123D design, I believe. What is the oldest 3D printed parts that I'm still using right now? Well, officially, I think that would be. Do I have anything off the old machines? I guess the oldest 3D printing parts that I still use like on a weekly basis would be the ABS parts that came on my original Mark II from 2017. And I've only replaced one or two of those parts. So most of it is original. I should join the LTT server. If I had more time, I would love to come and play Minecraft with you. What about Minesweepers? I haven't seen a Minesweepers game in 20 years, and I was never very good at it. Yeah, we're getting to the bridge. You want to do extreme close-up? Sleep or watch the Benchy finish? Well, you don't have very much longer to go. Yeah, go ahead and post that link. If it's informational, post away, because I like to see the info too. ABS is pretty much, I mean, it gets a little bit brittle, but man, it lasts a long time. There is, Jessica, I see what you're saying. There is just a little bit of gap there. Maybe it didn't bridge so well. Might be just a little bit warm. It really doesn't focus very well on the bridge, but maybe it will by the time it gets there. We'll see. So Richard, it does work with the SKR boards with 1314. You can get it to work, yes. Does it work well? That I can't say. They're pretty finicky to get them set up right. But you can make it happen if you've got enough patience. Where do you plug them in? You would plug them in on your TFT connector. You can also use AUX 1 on some of those boards, or no, AUX 3 on some of those boards. So really all you're interested in, check out the pinout of the SKR, but you want TX, RX, 5 volt, and ground. So that's where you would plug in your pins. There is one extra wire that is a reset pin, but you don't necessarily need it to make it work. Hello from Poland. Hello. Glad to have you. Nylon and ABS small prints. Well, nylon, that's more a concern of printing surfaces. So whatever you would like to use to get nylon to stick. Probably like, what do they call that stuff? I want to say Tufnel. There's another word for it. It escapes me at the moment. But there's one material that nylon really likes. I print nylon on glue stick, and I usually don't have many issues. ABS, you're going to want something in an enclosure. You're going to have an enclosed printer of some kind to do it well. So, I don't know of a machine right offhand that would be good at doing that, but it's going to have to be enclosed. See you later, John. It's like they degrade. Yeah, it's the... I think it's more light that hurts it than anything else. Non-Marlin compliant. You might be screwed if you're not Marlin compliant. It's gonna be, it's gonna be an upward battle. Let's just say that. Prusa clone kit from Rip Rap Guru. I have no idea what to do with the hot end. What's the matter with the hot end? Replacing a Rambo with a Duet 2. The first thing I'm going to say is probably the Rambo and the Duet. I think the biggest struggle you're going to have, use your RipRap configurator tool to get your firmware down for your Duet Wi-Fi. The biggest hurdle you're going to have is the connectors because they're completely separate types. You have a type of JST connector on your Rambo board, and then you have a Molex connector on your Duet. You might be able to make it work, but that's going to be your biggest issue. So look out for that. Garolite. Thank you, Clint. That was exactly what I was trying to think of. Thank you. Garolite is probably the best for nylon. That sweet, sweet bridge. Glass and 3D lac. That 3D lac is good stuff if you can get a hold of it. Do they sell 3D lac in the United States? I know I looked at getting some at one time and I could only, but it's been years ago. But it would only be shipped from Europe or something. Hopefully they have a distributor for that now. I haven't thought about that in years now that you mention it. Yeah, it's almost impossible to do those with needle nose pliers. Yeah, you're gonna have to have a set of crimpers for that. Any information on the Prusa Core XY? You know as much as I do, my friend. Me and Joe aren't tight. He doesn't have enough time to chat, so no, I don't. I don't have any more info than you do. Oh, yeah, switching over to Duet, it's not any fun. Yeah, the textured sheets aren't bad. I have better luck with the smooth sheets, actually. ABS is just one of those things. You got to get it just right, or it's going to curl. ASA is a little bit more forgiving. What extruder should you get for it? I don't know. I guess it depends how much money you want to spend. You could just convert over to the Mark III housing, just print out the housing and buy some Bondtech gears. If I had a Prusa clone, that's probably what I do because they're only like 30 bucks. If you really wanted to go on the cheap, you can get clone Bondtech gears. I don't recommend that, but you can if that's something you want to do. So maybe look at just getting the Mark III housing and doing those. Bed adhesive that you can print on cold and then you heat it to get it off. I wonder what that is. Prusa XL is delayed. With all the stuff going on, it doesn't surprise me one bit. We won't see it this year, I guarantee that. The multimeter comes out. We've already had that moment today here, Mitch. I sympathize. Triangle Labs, I've heard a lot of good things about Triangle Labs. I don't have any of their stuff, but I've heard pretty good things about it. Thomas is new here. Welcome, Thomas. Glad to have you on the stream. So there you go. If you're already using a Triangle Labs V6, you could just go with their BMG. I think it's pretty affordable. You could mount that up pretty easy. With Triple Z, yeah, maybe they will. Zilla Grip. Thank you, Glenn. I feel like I've had so much good information in this chat today. I should have been writing all this down. Zilla Grip. Where's my pen? That is going to take some long belts, that is for sure. I'm sure they'll come up with something tricky. Hello, Alan. Hello, Clarice. I don't know where that came from. It just happened. Harium? Hello. Yeah, you know, the nanopolymer stuff, it works pretty good. I've had a few failures with it. It almost seems like more of a release agent for super high temp plastic, though. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like my work. Benchy is looking nice. Got any jokes for you? No. Brian Vines was in here. He would have the best jokes. I do like really corny jokes, though. I don't have any good ones for you. Linear rail adapters, eh? You're welcome. Marlin setups are my thing. There's a good video by Chris Valley. You can play it back. uh, that's corny enough. Please don't encourage him. uh, okay. Are you ready? Are you ready for this, Benchy? This is ultra base, and I've got it super smashed. We probably ought to let that cool for a second. Let's let it cool for a moment, and then we'll take a look. 8 terabytes? Seems like just yesterday I bought my first 1.6 gig. Yes, sir, ready. Okay, we will hammer it off. Might have to chisel it off as deep as the first layer was. I need to go through and set some of my NG code so it blasts the part fan at the end of every print. What's that spool holder? I think when I get these spool holders out, that's probably the #1 question we've ever had. All the people that hang out in these streams repeatedly, you can vouch for me, but everybody loves that spool holder. If you go to Thingiverse and you search spool holder, it's #5 on the list. I actually need to make a couple of more of these. I broke 1 or 2 not too long ago. Forgot to measure the rails, and then you took the printer apart. Got to do it in the right order, man. Install a bed fan. I've seen somebody that had two up top. I think they were like 120s. And then they used the G code to run those. John Moore, I don't know. I have talked to Creality in the past, not about belt printers. Me and Creality are on a good footing, but I have not been offered a belt printer. The gravity spool holders are very cool. I really like those things. They need just a little bit higher tilt. A little bit more degree on that tilt. That would be helpful, I think. Think they'd work for 2.5s? I don't know. There's several different sizes of that, so check it out. Maybe there's one big enough for it. Not exactly sure what all needs to be edited. Well, the best thing you can do is go download the examples. There's probably one for the Ender 5. So go to Marlin, go to the Marlin GitHub, and on the front page there's going to be a config directory. Go in there, and then it's going to give you a link to examples. Download those configuration examples. In there, you're going to find a Creality folder. In there, you're going to find one for your Ender 5 or Ender 5 Plus. Grab the configuration file, the configuration.h, the configuration _adv.h. Copy both of those, put them in your Marlin folder, and then bring that into VS Code. That's going to give you almost all the default settings you need, and then if you want to update the board, you can do that from there. So that will get you started. I have not had the chance to play with closed loop drivers yet. Pretty in pink Benchy. Nice one, Tom. Okay. We're just going for it. It is really stuck. I don't even know if the spatula's got enough gravitas to get that guy off of there. It's not really all that warm anymore either. That's the one thing about Ultra Base. We might be looking at this Benchy while attached to the printer. I don't want to hurt it too much. A little melty, but we did okay. Okay. So here it is. You can see that artifact that's pretty common to that 2208. You can see that right up here. But it really, on larger prints, you know, it really doesn't look all that bad. I mean, we're looking at it at a very granular level, so I mean, take that for what it's worth. We're really up close here, and other filaments hide it better than some do. It's got, I mean, again, it's got a little wave to it. You can see it there. You can see it across the back. The slicer settings probably could be adjusted a little bit. We could slow down a bit to get rid of some of that. There's a few lines there of extrusion. That's not uncommon at all to see on the Benchy, no matter what printer you have. You can see around the cabin, though, we don't have the usual, I mean, you can see the kind of the noise in there, the glint off the light, but you don't have a lot of ghosting or ringing. The top looks good. The chimney's nice and round, so it wasn't too hot. There's just a very, very few wisps of string. Retraction on this was set super low, remember that. The deck, it's a very nice finish. So it looks good. That is a nice Benchy. Other than our first layer getting totaled, it looks really nice. Pretty impressed. So now, Looks good. Bridging was crazy good, I agree. Hopefully I didn't total the Ultra Base right out of the box. It looks still intact. We should be okay. The best way to clean off this kind of stuff for your Ultra Base is to print something over the top of it and let it pull it off. So now that we have completed our first print, this is a foldable 3D printer, yeah? We should fold it. Where's my wrench? That's what I get for putting away things. So you just have 4 screws, 2 on each side. We need like a little magnet tray or something to be included with this to hold the 4 screws. I need more room for testing. I need to be able to set up more printers in a row and test them. Because I was just thinking to myself, where am I going to put this? And no, Tom's house is not a valid location, Tom. No matter how many times you tell me that. Who else is streaming today? We're about done here. Oh, don't want it to fall over. Reflexes like a ninja. Getting that back one out is going to be a trick. No matter who you are. There's a wire loom in there that might make it a little tricky. And then you fold it. Now, you would have to have your X-axis all the way up to fold that, though. Which, that would take forever. Well, that's a good question, though. How many start are these screws? I wonder if there's a fold sequence. You should be able to, like, put that in your G-code. Like, fold macro. I didn't look on the screen. There should be a fold macro on there. There you go. So that's as much as it folds. But again, the box has a handle on it, and you get all this packing that will level it out. So you can slide it right back in the box. And it's folded. It does have dual C, yes. Man, I missed my lunch. I'm hungry. Okay. So, what do you think? It is a folding 3D printer. So this is the, once again, this is the EZT3D S2 Foldable. It is on Kickstarter. The Kickstarter will start soon. The link to the Kickstarter is in the description. I will be reviewing this at some point, so you will see it again. The Kickstarter price is right at $200. And the print turned out really well. We had a few bumps. I had to swap out a stepper driver, but after that, everything seems to be okay. So I will continue to work with it and let you know how it goes. Yeah, folding. What's the build volume? 235, 235, 250. You can just put it back in the box. That's right. It comes assembled. Yes, this is exactly how it comes. You are welcome, Jim. It does see, I totally agree with Mike. Dual Z, Y beams, direct drive. We'll see what the price is after it fully launches, but it is very interesting. If you have a use case for it, this might be quite the printer for you. So there we go. That's about all I got. Twitter message for the camera stuff. All right, that's it for today, everyone. I am sorry to say that this is going to be the last stream for a couple of weeks, probably. I got some other stuff lined up, but I will be back. But it's probably going to be November before I get to another stream. Maybe I'll be a guest on somebody else's stream or something. But you will see all this content coming out. The content will continue. I just won't be able to live stream for a little bit. I got some other work I got to get done. But I'll see you soon. Thank you for coming to the stream. Thanks for everybody that always hangs out on these. It's much appreciated. Thanks for the super chat tips. That really does help us out. And I hope everyone has a nice rest of the weekend. Maybe I will see you in a chat here and there. And have a good one. I appreciate it.